You're listening to Optional Opinions, the only podcast done by average dudes for average Joes. So quit listening, Kelly.
We're here to talk about House of the Dragon, episode 5. Was it 5? Is this 6?
This is episode 6.
Episode 6. We got the time jump.
We did get the time jump, but
wait. We're introducing ourselves.
That's what I was about to say.
Oh.
Good catch, Kyle. Good catch.
Thank you. Yeah, so my name's Kyle.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Davis.
There it is.
And then ta-da!
Now you may continue your intro.
Great. We got the time jump. I am interested. Kind of what they said at the end of the, or when they did the inside the episode, where they're like, it's basically, they said this episode is basically like a second pilot episode because we have, different, different characters and different stuff happening. So it was, I agree with what they said, and I liked it. I'm interested. I do feel kind of like it's just going to be a little bit to get used to these new actors. Like, I know Olivia Cook, she's a really good actor, and I like her a lot. She's really good in Thoroughbreds, and she was in Ready Player One. But I also really liked the other two. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. But overall, I'm still invested, and I want to know what's going on in general.
Yeah, and then big plot twist: the king is still alive, which I was not expecting.
Right. I keep wondering when. Like, I guess at this point, it's been so far along that part of me is just like, I think now I don't think he's going to die at all. Like, I think he's just going to be around. Maybe he'll die at the very end of the last episode or something. But I think that's going to be a thing of, like, because he can be so easily manipulated by Rhaenyra and by Alicent. And so it'll be kind of them having like a shadow war against each other, which would be interesting.
I don't know. I feel like he's fading fast. I mean,
I think he is, but I think in terms of the plot, like, if they
haven't we been saying that for the past 5 episodes?
We said that he's going to die, but I feel like they've kept him around for so long.
I would be a little annoyed if he stayed alive until like the last episode. Like, I feel like that's like, and then they just leave on like the cliffhanger, which like we thought was going to be this whole season. Like the power struggle, but like for her, like pining for the for the throne. I mean, I'd feel a little gypped, to be honest.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I could see. I think it's going to happen in episode 8, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's. I don't know. It's hard for me to guess because we don't really know. I mean, how many years did it say? How many years it was, or do we know how many years?
It was a 10-year time jump.
10 years.
10 years. So like, if it only progressed that much in 10 years, which I guess is pretty significant, but I don't know. I think he might be around for definitely a few more episodes because now we're no longer jumping crazy times. It's like, weeks, maybe months,
right,
as opposed to years. So we're going to be progressing time a lot slower than we just have between the last 2 episodes. So I think it's possible he lives the whole time.
But I mean, would you not feel gypped at all? Like, it's like, I don't know, like the whole like promotion of this show was about like her like fight for the throne. That, at least that's the impression that I got from like the trailers. And so, like, I don't know, it just feels like that's going to be next season if that's the case. And I was really hoping that's the show we were.
Well, I think that's the setup. Like, that's the setup we're getting, is kind of vying for position with the throne, because now, like, Rhaenyra is probably, like, if she's leaving, she's still going to have to defend her, or I guess she feels comfortable enough that her dad is still naming her heir. But she's like, I don't know. She has a lot of trust that Alicent isn't going to talk to the king and be like, hey, actually, what about our kids? They should be, next, and they have blonde hair and all this stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. I am interested to see like I wouldn't feel gypped. I think it would just be a little more unexpected than I thought it was if the king stays alive.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I didn't really have set expectations one way or the other. I didn't really watch any of the trailers, to be honest. I knew I was going to watch the show, so I kind of avoided them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel gypped. I'm kind of enjoying this way as well. Kind of, I don't know. I still think there's a lot of plot and interesting things going on. I don't think it's more interesting necessarily one way or the other, because either way she's vying for the position, and Alicent is still, trying to get her son into the position. And I think that if the king were to die, then she would just immediately become, queen, in which case it's almost less interesting than them fighting for the position now before he's dead. So I think it could go either way.
Right.
I don't think it would be less interesting, because I don't think Alicent would just like stand by and let that happen. I feel like they're setting up some sort of civil war.
I need to get he's here. So I agree with what you're saying.
Davis, real quick, what did you genuinely rate it real quick? Since you can't give your whole thoughts on it.
I don't know. I think it held my attention enough. I would rate it an 8.8.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have you while we can. Thank you, Davis.
I'll be sure to text you guys about it when I hear the episode, and I'll remind you of all the names that you forget.
Sounds good.
See ya.
See ya. Then there were 2.
True. Let's see. I guess let's do a quick rundown of all the very big things I think that happened. Obviously, King's still alive. We got Alicent, who's clearly going to make a play for her son becoming the next king. What else major?
For like half a second, I thought her son was Timothy Chalamet.
Wait, I think April was telling me that it's like David Tennant's son.
Is it?
One of them.
I did not know that.
I don't know which one, to be honest.
I had no clue. I was like, wait, is that Timothy Chalamet? No, it just looks a lot like him.
I could see it.
So I thought, after thinking that, I was like, man, I really wish Timothy Chalamet was in this show. That'd be kind of cool. He'd kill it.
Yeah, he's out there doing Dune things.
I know, but it's a worthy sacrifice.
True. Yeah, so we got that, and then let's see what else. I guess just the whole thing with Rhaenyra and her kids, and who the dad is, who it's clearly the guard, the Night's Watch dude. And then at the end, them dying, the Hand and the Night's Watch, the king, or what is this position title?
The Hand and the Captain of the Night's Watch?
Yeah, Captain of the Night's Watch. I couldn't remember if it was Captain or whatever it was, but yeah. I don't know. I think those are all the major things that we can talk about. Am I missing any?
No, I think that about covers it. So as far as it took me a little bit longer to realize what the show was implying than I wish it would have with Rhaenyra's kids. And I was like, why is everyone acting weird? I literally said that to Cassie, and she's like, it's because he's the dad. And I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. I think I might have been playing a chess move or something, which is why I missed it. But
excuses.
Yeah. That's what I'm going with. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting development. I did not see that coming. I kind of figured, I was kind of surprised that she was being so careless about it. I just didn't expect that from her. She seems very strategic and plans a lot of her moves. And so I was just shocked that she would allow us all of her kids basically to be fathered or to be bastards. I don't know. I just figured at least they would attempt to have, especially their first kid, be fathered by her husband. No?
Yeah, I definitely thought that as well. And I guess I wasn't sure in terms of how much everyone in that time. I'm assuming there's different, races and people understand how it works. I don't know. I guess that's the only part where I'm I guess maybe people just wouldn't know, or because otherwise I agree. It's pretty obvious. But then everyone else in the episode made it seem like it was pretty obvious. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's interesting as well. That like it's very non-strategic and like it's pretty clear. Everyone with eyes can see. I guess maybe they don't leave outside of the castle, and so the general people don't know about it. But
yeah, but like like they kind of played it as if it was like her being like purposefully malicious. At least that's like how Allison interpreted the affairs. But I don't know. It just seems out of character. Granted, we had a 10-year time jump, so we don't really know. This person's like basically a whole new character. So maybe it is perfectly in line with this new character, but it seems like a deviation from the pre-established character.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was they were definitely gonna like have kids together and then do their own thing separately, which I guess maybe it could be taken as it was an accident the first time around and then they got away with it. Nobody said anything and they thought it was okay, and then they continued on. So I guess that could have been the history. But you're right. I mean, without any knowledge of the in between, there's really no way to know exactly what their thought process was. But I don't know. I think it's interesting nonetheless. And although now that they're leaving where are they going to? Was Dragonstone? Yeah. I guess it'll be. Yeah, I guess are there already people living there? It seemed pretty empty when they were going. That's what I'm not sure about. Is it like fully populated still? Do you know?
I honestly have no clue. Basically, every time we've seen it in Game of Thrones, like it wasn't populated by like the common people. It was mostly just like a fortress that was like heavily defended, and I don't know. It as far I don't know like what the population looks like for that area.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was maybe guessing, is that it would just be exactly that, just somewhere kind of a fortress where they're kind of secluded by themselves. And so I think that was the right move in her current position, politically, to kind of escape from all the rumors and have the kids be there to kind of, continue the rumors on. Although I don't know. I think it'll be very interesting because she gets back and now she's probably going to hear that the actual father is dead. And so that will be quite interesting to see what kind of possible retaliation there might be from her. Because it's pretty clear that it wasn't an accident, I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. And then not to mention he was killed by his own brother, and like the guy killed his dad as well. That's insane. I honestly did not see that coming. He's definitely a very Littlefinger-esque character.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I called him a rat a couple recordings ago, and then we see the rat, and I'm like, yep. I felt validated in my
head. You called him, man.
Him a rat.
You called it.
Yeah, I think he will definitely be a pretty interesting character, although it's not really, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see kind of what his ultimate goal is. If it is just Littlefinger who just wants to be with the person who has the most power, or if he has some even more thorough,
like 3D chess.
Yeah, exactly. What his motives are. I don't think it's very clear what his motives are yet.
Yeah, I mean, we can only assume that he's like just pining for power. The thing with Littlefinger is like his famous line is, "They'll never let your enemies know what you plan to do next," or something like that. Like he very much likes to surprise even his quote unquote allies. And so I'm curious to see if this guy is going to be going along that kind of same path where we think he's aligned with Allison, but in reality, he's like actually he himself is making a power grab for the throne. I don't really see how like the path for that, but you never know.
I mean, he's already kind of blackmailing Allison. Like he almost did this and now he's holding it over her because he's saying that she's the one that wanted it. And so he's already almost like kind of against his allies, not really against, but like already making them do things. And
that's true.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. He's already kind of forced himself into the situation. And yeah, now I think he has material to, I don't know if blackmail, I mean, it kind of is because yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to kind of see where his character goes because it seems like, yeah, very, very Littlefinger-esque. He's just kind of manipulating everything behind the scenes. So
Yeah, maybe he's trying to like do some sort of where like Allison or like her son Draco. No, it's not Draco. I forget his son's name. Aegon. Maybe he's just trying to be like almost like a puppet master for them and just basically make them like beholden to his will or something like that. But he doesn't himself wants to sit on the throne, but maybe he just wants to rule in the shadows.
Yeah, but he's also much more, I guess, active in the role because he's recruiting these people and he's kind of got his own henchmen. So he's already being more active than I guess Littlefinger was in terms of he's giving commands and people are carrying out things. I don't think Littlefinger ever really did that. He
did to some extent. Like he was like the commander of the Vale or whatever it was after Catelyn's sister died. Like he killed her. So I mean, he had like a lot of power, and I think his stuff was mostly in the shadows because, especially in the beginning of the seasons, they were like trying to hide like how much influence this guy had. So I don't know, maybe it's hard to say because there's a lot of stuff that's just not shown with Littlefinger, but he's always able to like, he seems to be able to pull stuff off that would seemingly be impossible for someone in his position.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. And do you think they'll be successful in bringing back the old hand or Alicent's dad?
I mean, I would imagine so. I mean, that's kind of what they were leading up to, which I'm excited because that guy's a really good actor and I'm excited to see him on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think he'll very clearly, I guess Alicent alluded to it, that he'll fight for her in her position. And then I guess with Rhaenyra gone, it's, nobody's really going to go against them, it feels like. So I think they'll definitely be leading the decisions that are going to be made the rest of the season.
Do you think King Viserys is that desperate for a hand that he would have Hightower back? I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like he was pretty steadfast in his like position where he was like, you're biased and you can't give me unbiased advice. And so you think he would want to come back, especially, well, I don't know. He does seem pretty easily manipulated.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And yeah, I guess that's a good point. I don't know. It's been a long time though. So maybe he's kind of lessened the degree that he was upset by the whole situation as well. And, he was pretty loyal for X amount of years. And, people tend to remember the good stuff as opposed to the bad stuff, I feel like. So,
yeah, that's true. I do want to talk about the scene with, I forget his name, Kristen Cole and the King's Guard, commander of the King's Guard. And when he like punched him, I don't know. I know we don't know the guy very well, but come on, how are you going to let somebody provoke you like that?
Yeah, that's very true. It was like very obvious.
Like it wasn't even like, oh, is he going to say that like, oh, that's the devotion you show them as someone of like a mentor or a uncle or a brother, and it's like very obvious he's about to say father, and it's like, how are you going to let, it's not like a surprise.
True.
Like, true. Like, how you gonna let him play you like a fiddle, dude? Come on.
I guess maybe it was just because he was already enraged because he was basically not training his kids at all. And so he was just seeing his sons get beat up. And that can bring out the Papa Bear, Mama Bear type, feelings that just kind of come out and you don't really have that much of a control over. So maybe it was just all that together. It just set him off.
Maybe. You would think that Rhaenyra would have picked somebody that would have been able to control themselves a little bit more. But yeah, and then we have, I think one of the things that we forgot to mention in the beginning, as far as like the synopsis goes for this episode, is Daemon's wife, Dracarysing herself.
Yeah, I think that just like his whole wife situation just like came and went so fastly or quickly. Fastly, is that even a word? April's laughing at me.
Get wrecked. I could hear her laugh.
Seriously. Whoops. Yeah, I thought it was very interesting because that was the girl that the king was supposed to marry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was just pretty crazy. Just like how quickly I guess that whole arc happened. Because I don't know. I was expecting, like, especially with her having this giant dragon and then coming in and and all that, and then she just dies at the end of the episode. I was a little shocked that she died so fast after being introduced as Damon's wife and everything.
Yeah. Maybe it was just a little too late, but I don't fully understand why she did that.
Oh, I think it was alluded to in the more so the beginning of the episode when she said she wants to die a dragon rider's death. But also it was clear that this child was not going to come out and that she was going to die and they were going to like cut her open and she was just going to die like this horrible way. And so I think she knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And so that's why she did that. Because also,
Jeez.
yeah, I mean, it's, I feel like when they do that sort of thing, it's pretty desperate and the baby's probably not going to live either. And so, you know, she wanted to go out a dragon rider's death. And I think that's what the big thing was.
Yeah, cause that's what I thought, but I was like, maybe I missed something because it just seems like it wasn't guaranteed that the baby was going to die. And I just was kind of shocked by that.
Yeah, I guess that is true. I mean, it wasn't guaranteed. So there is that. But I don't know. I wasn't very shocked by it. I thought when it was happening, I wasn't that surprised because of the whole dialogue that she had earlier. That, you know.
I feel a little cheated because she seemed like a really cool character, and I was excited to get to see her in action a little bit more, especially with her like massive dragon. You know, like they alluded to that dragon in the beginning, and then he appears on screen for like all of 5 minutes, and then his rider is just no more. So
yeah, but now
her daughter
clearly, for sure gonna bond with that dragon.
But does that mean we're gonna have another time jump in order for this person to like be an adult and like able to utilize the dragon in like war, like, or is that probably gonna be something that pays off like in later seasons?
Yeah, I think it'll be a more later seasons thing. I mean, it's similar to how Rhaenyra had a dragon and she wasn't an adult really yet. And she was still riding around. I think it can be a similar situation. Yeah,
but Rhaenyra was like older than what this kid is now. This kid seems like she's like what, 8? I don't even remember how old she looked like in the show, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just one dragon. I mean, it is the biggest one, and I'm sure there will be, you know, some more development there. But there's plenty of other dragons around that they can bring to war. It's not like. I mean, was she really even riding it into war that often or at all even?
Who? Damon's wife?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the show is going to have like a climax at some point where there's like this big battle. And so I don't know. I would imagine that she would be of an older age to participate in that. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe Damon's going to push her to really just be a massive dragon rider and like not really care about his daughter and however old she is, or who knows.
Well, he's already ignoring her. So.
Yeah. It's not too far-fetched.
Right. Yeah, I think it'll pay off later on. I don't think that's a this season thing. So, which I'm not mad about. I think that's fine. Because you have all these kids that are having these dragons, and so, you know, I'm sure there will be some sort of battle with them when they're older as well, because none of them are really that old anyway, or of age, whatever their term that they use is. No,
I agree. I think just going back to like my general thoughts about this episode, it felt like Davis was kind of saying how it's just like another pilot. I don't know. I don't feel like a whole lot happened.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know. I think that's kind of the cadence that the show has like kind of already picked up. It's like one episode of setup, one episode of payoff, one episode of setup. That's just the way it seems like it might be going.
Yeah, which is a little disappointing because like the last 2 episodes were phenomenal. And I was like, I don't know. I thought it was like starting to pick up steam and then.
Really? Yeah. I thought episode 4 was like not good at all compared to the
other. Wait, I thought you said that's the one with the Kingswood. I thought you said that one was really good. No. It was the one with episode 4 was...
That was the one where Rhaenyra like went out and had a night in the town.
Oh, I thought you had said that you really liked that one.
I said I enjoyed it, but I think it's like might be my least favorite episode of them all. Granted, it's still like good for TV, like compared to other shows, you know. So like I enjoyed it, but I think it is probably the worst of all the episodes.
Really? Okay. Well... Yeah. I don't know. I thought that we were picking up a lot of steam, and it felt like just A lot of setup for future episodes, which I don't know. I feel like the show could be paced a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, what is really going to happen that's going to be like a huge payoff this episode once you jump 10 years? Like,
Well,
I
I didn't expect them to jump. Well, neither of us knew that they were jumping 10 years,
True.
at least this episode. And so I kind of anticipated this episode being like King is dead, Rhaenyra's power, or Rhaenyra is put in place of the as queen, and Alicent makes a play for the throne for Aegon and like rallies people behind her. So like obviously that's coming at some point, but I don't know. That's just kind of the episode I thought we were gonna get.
Yeah, I guess I knew that kind of wasn't going to be, because I knew we were going to get a time jump this season. Like, I knew it was going to happen. And so I guess I kind of figured that all that's not going to happen, like, and then just time jump. Like, there's too much to unpack there and work through for it to, like, happen this season, I guess, and not time jump themselves. Because, like, if that happened, then there's, like, clearly a lot of politics and maybe in war and things like that that's going to break out. And so they're not going to, I guess I kind of figured after last episode that maybe all that wasn't going to happen for sure before the time jump. Although I did think the king was going to die beforehand. So I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It's tough, but
this show is subverting expectations to say the least.
Well, I guess it's all just the expectations you kind of set for yourself, though. I don't know.
No, yeah, you're not wrong. But I mean, that's kind of how they do it. And I guess there's probably expectations that aren't being subverted because people are actually watching the trailers for the next episode, and I'm not. So that might be part of it.
I did get spoiled by the New York Times. They spoiled something for me.
Dang.
And basically, they spoiled that for sure the time jump was happening this next episode. So I did know that going in, because it was like an article headlined that literally the headline of it like said they're jumping forward essentially, in that the younger characters are like no more. So it basically said that we're never, like, there's not going to be flashbacks. It's like their characters are done.
That's kind of sad.
I know, it's definitely sad. But I was like so ticked that it was like why would you make the headline that before it even comes out? But I guess it probably was in the trailer. So like they didn't really spoil anything because it's already been put out by the House of the Dragon team itself. So
yeah, that's fair. We're just unique, you know. We don't watch the trailers. Everyone else is just normies.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should just start watching it. I don't know. I say that, but I'm not actually.
Don't give in, Kyle. Don't do it.
I won't. And I thought April spoiled something big for me too before we started the episode, but it ended up not really being a spoiler, because I said that the New York Times spoiled something for me, and she's like, "Oh, what? That Rhaenyra has children or a kid?" And I was like, "Wait, what? What the heck?" But I mean, it ends up being like literally the first 30 seconds of the episode. So it was a spoiler, but not really. But also, that might have also been in the trailer. I don't know.
Yeah. Hard to say.
I don't know why they need trailers between episodes.
It's to get people hyped, you know, they want to keep people coming back, and they're just like, hey, look what's coming up next time. I don't know. It's just like a thing that TV has always done, and maybe it's old and archaic and doesn't need to be a thing anymore, but maybe it actually does bring people back.
Yeah, maybe it does. I guess, like, I don't know. I guess I got so used to just binging things that I'm not used to these trailers in between episodes.
Yeah, for real. So what else? What was the other thing that happened that you had mentioned at the beginning that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to go through the list in my head. I think we covered pretty much all of it. I mean, Alicent playing for the, Aegon, and then we have the Captain of the Knights card dying and the hand dying, which we talked about. I think we covered it all.
I think so. Yeah. I'm sure there's something we're missing that Davis is yelling at his phone right literally now, like saying, "You didn't talk about this." That's poor Davis. Sorry, bud. But yeah, so I guess we can move on to Rings of Power. Did you watch that?
I did. I literally finished it like 10 minutes before we started this recording.
Oh, dang. So it's fresh. It's fresh, dude. Yeah, not as good as the last episode.
Yeah, just because you hate the Harfoots.
The Harfoots. Yeah, anytime they're on screen, it's just automatically it's a no go for me. No.
I think I have a maybe it's not a big prediction. Maybe people think it's pretty obvious, but I think this wizard that's with them and kind of showing them, that they can fight back against things and they have power with the wizard. I think it's kind of just their whole, and maybe this is already covered in the books, but it seems like the origin story for the Hobbits, that this guy is going to help them essentially create, I'm blanking on the name of where the Hobbits live.
The Shire.
Yeah, the Shire. I think they're gonna, in the next, however many seasons, I think this is the Hobbit's origin story where they go find the Shire and they realize that, hey, we can stay in one place.
Yeah,
that's my prediction.
It's you're probably not wrong.
But I don't know. The thing is with them, like, I get why you're annoyed because they're kind of jerks and they just leave people behind.
They're the worst people in the world. Like they're worse than Sauron.
Oh wow, that's harsh. But to me, it just kind of reminds me of almost like a cult-like behavior. Like you kind of just convince people to operate in a certain mindset, and then they just take it as a new norm, and it no longer becomes something they think about. Like it's very almost like, yeah, like I think it's almost cult-like how they just kind of, because I mean, when you're operating under that mindset for however long they have, hundreds of years, like it's no longer them being jerks. It's just the way that things are, so them leaving people behind and saying, no one gets left behind. It's like, they don't even realize how hypocritical they're being because it's just that the way that they operate. Like no one gets left behind unless they slow people down. Like that's really the song they should be singing. But I think it's just understood that that's the way things are. That's the way they operate. Not saying it's right, but I don't think they're as big of jerks as you make them out to be, because that's just how they've been surviving for, generations. So it's just not really questioned. Except for, was it Maury? Is that her name? Nori. Yeah. Yeah. So now she's starting to kind of question things and be a little rebellious and invite new people in. And so it could be them changing their ways. And like I said, hopefully the origin of the Hobbits in the Shire.
Maybe it's such a deviation from the canon, and I don't know. It's not enjoyable to me. Anytime it's on screen, it's like it just drags on. It feels like, and I don't know. I am not interested in anything that's going on there besides quote unquote Gandalf. I mean,
well, that's really the only. Yeah, I mean that's like the big thing. That's essentially all there is to that. It's like each kind of different group of people has their like one important thing, and that's like their one important thing to pay attention.
Yeah, I just wish that, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so Gandalf fights off a wolf, or three wolves. That was actually kind of a cool scene. I did enjoy that.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That whole series of events with him like smashing his hand, and then he's like his hand's all wounded, and then like him going to the water and doing some sort of like wizardy stuff. Yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed that small aspect of the Harfoots being on screen. But yeah, I don't know. The episode just felt like not a whole lot happened. Like I thought we were starting to get some momentum, and then we kind of left off in the same spot as we did last episode for all three story arcs, or four, essentially, except for wow, missing his names. The guy with the dwarves, Elrond.
Yeah, and the elf, what's her face, Galadriel. I think that's progressed too. I think.
Well, it ended with her convincing the queen to send people, and then it ended with her convincing the queen to send people.
Right, but now there's a lot more of the people who are on the side of the elf. I think there's a pretty big development there.
I guess.
At the end of the last episode, nobody wanted her except for, like two people. But now there's like a whole big group of people that actually are willing to go and enjoy her presence. And
I don't know. I didn't feel like you needed a whole episode's arc to convey that. I mean, they had the end of the last episode, them asking for volunteers to travel to the Southlands, and it was a bunch of people like raising their hands saying, "I volunteer as tribute." It's like,
yeah, but they weren't volunteering because they like the elf. They were volunteering because they got kicked out and they need somewhere to go, or B, because they like the Sea Guard or whatever they call it. It was a sense of duty as opposed to, hey, we like the elf. But then after the whole scene where she's like battling all the people, which I thought was a really cool scene.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, so after that, I think they have a lot more respect for what's going on.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, it took a whole episode to tell that. And I don't know. It doesn't feel like a whole lot happened. That's just the general feeling that I had like leaving this episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I disagree. I think more happened this episode than in a few of the previous episodes, just in terms of progress. Like you have the whole things with the orcs and the sword hilt and the key or whatever it is, and so.
Yeah, I guess. Cassie has a theory, and I don't know how much I subscribe to this theory, but it's not impossible. She thinks that the show is doing a similar thing. Did you ever watch The Witcher?
No, I didn't watch it.
Okay. Well, spoiler alert. They do a lot of weird stuff with time in The Witcher, and they basically have like different timelines progressing at different speeds. And Cassie thinks that is happening with this to some extent. She thinks that the thing with the orcs and the elves is happening in the past from the perspective of Galadriel and the person that's like the king of the Southlands. Because there was a scene where he talks about when Galadriel is talking to him about like taking up arms to defend his homeland because he's the rightful king or whatever. It flashes back to like the part where the men are going to the orcs and kneeling. It flashes to that during their conversation as he's saying, "You don't know the things I've done," or something like that. And so she thinks that the show is implying that he is one of the people, like specifically the kid that ditched the other kid. I don't know if that was the last episode, but like when they're going and hunting for food, his buddy like ditches him. Cassie thinks that younger kid is the king of the Southland.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't necessarily think that's the case, but I will give her like bonus points because like we went back and watched the whole scene again, and it does seem like the show is trying to imply that, because then at the end, Ada tells the old man to kill that kid,
right?
But they don't show the kid's death,
right? Yeah,
and so that is a possibility, which I don't think would make him Sauron, like I've been assuming he is,
right?
But I still think he's Sauron. I still do.
Wait. So you think? I guess what's the guy's name that's with Galadriel? I'm so bad with these.
I don't know either. He's a made up character, but he's like the king of the Southlands, the lost king of the Southlands is what they've been calling him.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I was thinking, I guess when you said the flashback thing and the time thing that Cassie brought up, I thought maybe you were going to say the son who stayed, with the group of people and had the hilt. I thought you were going to say that was him.
No.
Okay.
The kid that ditched his friend, the kid that ditched that kid.
Right.
Sorry, this is really confusing because we don't know any of their names.
I know, it's so bad.
I'm pulling up the IMDb to help us out. Davis, we're sorry, okay?
We deserve it though.
Yeah. So, because like it was like a weird flashback thing, like in the middle of their conversation on seemingly two completely separate timelines. So they were implying something, but I'm not fully convinced that he's the kid. So
that would be pretty cool, though. I think that'd be pretty interesting. But then I guess if that's the case, then the orcs are like way farther more advanced than we think they are in Galadriel's timeline. Yes,
and so that's one of the pushbacks I had is like surely somebody would know that the orcs have like basically took over this much land. Like I don't feel like that would go completely unnoticed by the elves, even though the orcs took out the elven tower. Like there's got to be some sort of communication, right? I mean, even if it's no communication, that should at least give off some sort of signal to the elves like, hey, we haven't heard from this tower in quite a while. Maybe we should go.
Although, weren't the elves pulling away from that group of people anyway?
Yeah, and so they at least should be meeting up with other elves. I mean,
Well, I'm
people
saying,
should
like,
be expecting
the elves
them.
have already left completely that group of people. Like,
Well, no, they were captured. Remember with the elves that they were
right.
they were
Yeah,
forced
yeah.
into slavery.
Yeah.
So they were captured. Somebody should be expecting them, and then they're not coming. And so I don't know. It just feels like it doesn't work as two separate timelines for Galadriel to not know that orcs have invaded the Southlands. I don't know. It seems a little off to me.
Yeah. I guess I'm not sure one way or the other. I think it's a pretty interesting theory, though. I think it could be definitely pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it would kind of wrap up one of the story arcs that's going on, because it is kind of a lot to have these 4 different. Is it 4?
Yeah, we got the dwarves, we got the orcs, we got the elves, we got the well, I guess the elves are kind of everywhere. But we got the Numenorians and we got the Harfoots. So yeah, it's 4.
Yeah. So there's like 4 different things going on at the same time, which is kind of a lot to keep track of. So I do think it makes sense that they need to merge at least 2 of them pretty soon.
Well, yeah, I mean they only have 3 episodes left. So.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. I wonder if like maybe it's not a time disparity in that Galadriel and the sea people are gonna like join up with the elves in the tower and fight the orcs. Maybe that'll be like the season finale. Like those 2 meet up in that moment, and there's a giant battle that happened.
Maybe it's definitely possible. But again, it was really weird the way they did the whole like interweaving the scenes during their conversation. But I still think he's Sauron, dude. There's like the conversation that Galadriel and him had in the dungeons of Numenor or whatever, after she like challenged the queen saying, I want to talk to your daddy or whatever. Like he made the comment, something along the lines of like, you need to find what your enemy fears. And then Galadriel's like, and then exploit it. And he's like, no, give them a means to conquer it and then control that, which is literally what the Rings of Power. That's what the Rings of Power are. Sauron makes the rings for the men, the elves, and the dwarves, and then he creates like those rings are meant to like give man a longer life, which is like the whole conflict that men have with elves, is that they're jealous of the elves for having eternal life and how they're mortal. And so the rings are a means to conquer that fear, and then he controls it with the one ring of power by controlling the men. And so I don't know, that conversation, that's just like, that's hardcore what Sauron does.
So I guess in this timeline where we're at right now, how many rings are in existence?
0.
0?
Yes.
Okay. So they haven't even made them yet.
No. Well,
Gotcha.
I guess they haven't shown us that any of them have been made. But Sauron is a blacksmith. Like that's what he was like raised as, like in Valhalla, not Valhalla. I forget the name of heaven in this universe, but he was raised as like he apprenticed as a blacksmith, and that's what this king of the Southern Lands. He's a blacksmith, and like there's a lot of connections pointing him to be Sauron, and I just like Sauron was a prisoner in Numenor for a while. Like there's just so many things. I don't know. Maybe they're just doing that to
mess with you.
To mess with me. They could be doing that. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, I don't know. You're probably right. I think it makes a lot of sense. Although I guess we did see when she was hunting for orcs, there was that one anvil, and there's that whole scene with the map etched into the anvil. So I thought maybe they'd already been created, but.
Okay. Yeah, no, he creates them in Mordor, I think. Well, he at least creates the one ring to rule them all in Mordor. And Mordor is in the Southern Lands, and so the Southern Lands haven't been conquered completely yet.
Gotcha.
At Mount Doom. So at the very least, the one ring is not created, and we haven't seen any others. So I think that's one of people's like biggest complaints, is like we thought we'd see at least some of the forging of the rings, and maybe we still will. There's 3 episodes, but that's not the biggest disappointment to me because I know they want to do a lot of seasons. They're trying to make like this a big thing, and so they don't want to throw everything into the first season. So like, I get that. Got a lot of setup.
Yeah, I definitely think they need to merge some of these different storylines that are occurring.
Yeah, it's a little much.
It's a lot.
Yeah. If we could just like stop watching the Harfoots and then just focus on the other three, I mean that'll do it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there does seem to be a lot of screen time for really not that much development with them. I will. But I enjoy the wizard, dude. Think he's cool.
I think he is too. He like I said, he's the most interesting part about the whole Harfoots, and I get it. He's like the central figure, but like if we could just have him without the Harfoots, that'd be great.
Or just him and Nori. Maybe they just go off.
Yeah. There we go. Just leave her family to die.
Yeah.
It's her people's way.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think those are really the only two like really cool scenes this episode though. It's like, the wolves and then where Galadriel's like fighting all the sailors. That was pretty sweet.
That was, yeah.
But other than that, I agree. Not really that much happened. But.
I mean, come on, we got to pick it up. There's only 3 more episodes. I mean, let's go.
I'm ready for a big battle.
Same.
We've already got one in House of the Dragon. It took 3 episodes. Like, come on, guys.
Come on now.
Your budgets are pretty equivalent, so you can go for it.
Are they? I thought Rings of Power was like. I mean, I guess I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm just assuming they're both like pretty much greenlit for whatever check they want. So
yeah, they probably
that's what I'm saying by comparable. Like they could get whatever they want. Probably
each episode is probably what a normal movie is cost to make.
Yeah, seriously, it's crazy, but it is a gorgeous show. I will say that
it is. You will not hear me say any different. It is phenomenally CGI'd. Except for the stupid Ed from Lion King when he showed up in the last episode. I forget that creature's name, but like the dog wolf creature that was attacking the elves with his like huge bug eyes. That thing looked terrible.
Yeah.
And it's sad because they have those creatures modeled in like The Hobbit, and they looked great in The Hobbit, and it just looked like he just looked like a cartoon.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they ran out of time or something.
Maybe. It
is interesting to pull a Davis here that as far as ratings, what the ratings of these episodes are, that the first 3 episodes are all 7.3. Episode 4 is 7.1, and this episode is 6.8. So according to all the critics here, it is the worst episode so far.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't know if I would have thought it'd be the worst one yet, but I kind of thought it was better than the last episode. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But also, it's pretty funny that it tells you like how many people have reviewed it. It's like the first episode has the most, and then it drops a few thousand, and then it drops 10,000, and then it drops another 10,000, and then it drops another 10,000. Granted, it came out only a few days ago, but it's a steady decrease in the amount of ratings. So.
Oh, geez, you're not wrong. There's less than 10,000. Oh,
well, you can't really base it off of right now because there's still, it only came out a few days ago.
That's true.
So,
but
I'm sure there will be more by Friday or next week, whatever.
I think all the others though are pretty comparable. I mean, you're only gonna have, if you haven't watched them yet, you're probably not gonna. Just to go and rate it later, I mean.
I think 1 through 3 are pretty solid in the total amounts, and then 4 is probably pretty solid in the drop. But I think there will still be a good amount more for.
That's hilarious.
But I don't know. I don't know if that's indicative of people watching the show because
I think it is. I've been seeing some stuff. It's always like clickbait titles, so I never know how truthful they are because I never watch. I try not to watch anything that has clickbaity titles. Because it almost always disappoints. But they like talk about how like the reviews, or not the reviews, the what's it called? Like how many people are watching each episode is like going down pretty significantly.
It might just be speculation. I don't know that Amazon would actually release that kind of figure.
Yeah, I don't think they would either. But like I think it was like the thumbnail said it was leaked, and so I have no clue. I didn't watch or read anything about
it.
it.
Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's really. I mean, it is in direct competition with House of the Dragon, and House of the Dragon so far is clearly the better written show.
Yeah,
but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this season wraps up. I still think they can turn it around and it'd be a good ending. But also, if it's not, and if it stays about the same where it's at, I probably won't watch season 2 unless people tell me it's good. That's where I'm currently at.
Yeah. No, I am right there with you. So, which is kind of sad to say. I never thought I would say that about a Lord of the Rings TV series, but I never thought I'd say that about a Star Wars TV series either. But yeah, I'm kind of at that point with all like big.
Have you watched Andor though? That actually looks good.
I have watched Andor. I've watched the first 3 episodes and I enjoyed it.
Well, there you go. That's the first one that I've actually wanted to maybe watch. All the other ones I've felt no need to watch any of them.
Well, I mean, Obi-Wan, it's like, come on, that should have been like a not like easy knock out of the park. But that's a whole other topic. Andor, it's pretty dark for Star Wars. The first episode like starts off really strong, and it's like, I won't spoil anything, but it's. I mean, it shocked me.
It's a prequel to Rogue One, which is pretty dark in itself. So
yeah, well, they say the first curse word in this show in Star Wars canon. So
whoa, interesting! I did not realize that was a thing. Yeah. I would have thought for sure in the Han Solo that would have been. I don't know.
From what I hear, this is the first time they've ever cursed. They said
crazy.
The S word. So
yeah, I mean, Rogue One was one of my favorite Star Wars movies. So
yeah. No, I mean, same. It's phenomenal. But we got to get out of here. We're pushing over an hour, so we definitely don't have that time. So I'll have to trim some stuff. But let's end this episode by saying our name, and if we think I don't know, who haven't we done?
Have we done Hightower himself?
I think we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Let's see, who would be a good one? You know, it'd be pretty crazy. I think Aegon.
Aegon? All right.
I think that could be. It has potential to be an upset.
All right. Let's end this episode by saying our name, and if we think Aegon Targaryen is going to be alive by the end of the season. My name is Brandon, and I think Aegon is going to be alive by the end of the season.
All right, and I'm Kyle, and I think he's going to die. That's my crazy prediction. I think something wild's going to go down, and Aegon's going to die.
Dang. Well,
and
there you have it.
It's just going to set everything ablaze.
You heard it here first.
Maybe.
But, all right, man. I'll see you later.
Yep, peace out.